Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation for the price of Bitcoin, getting that nice little rally in the last 24 hours. Let's go Bitcoin. Are we going to much higher levels? Are we going to top out very soon and reverse? Let's talk about the technicals and what we could be looking at here on the price of Bitcoin for the next coming days and hours. Make sure to destroy that like button on your way in, and let's crack on here with the technical analysis. Let's keep that music down till Friday. Let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the absolute legends and say hello to everybody here right now. Let's go. Ivo, how are you doing? Eagerly waiting for your analysis as always. Thank you very much, my man. Yesterday we were talking about an intraday shorting zone, guys. Right? We have to talk about it, right? We do have to talk about it. What we were talking about yesterday here, right? This zone, this is the zone where the price could reject. If you break this area, we could be pumping significantly. There was no other short of interest that I had in this zone, right? So we did not reject from this lower high. We didn't reject from this anchored VWAP. We didn't reject from the 50% Fibonacci. We blasted through, and whoever longed the previous day, because this zone over here was interesting for long trades as explained, but we're not talking about 2 days ago, we're talking about yesterday, which is most importantly. And today we'll talk about yesterday, and tomorrow we'll talk about today, right? And obviously, let's build up some scenarios that we could be discussing on today's live stream. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. But it was just an interesting area, right? If the price needs to reject to get continuation to the downside, we understood that there was a good chance that we could have formed an ABC. All right, this could end up being a three-wave structure, right? There is a possibility, and obviously, if you have that possibility, well, we need to talk about it, right? It's all nice, it's all great when we say, okay, well, we're moving down, very aggressive with high volume. Could there be a chance of forming a fourth wave and a fifth wave down? Well, that's when you create trading plans, right? First of all, I have to say, nothing in this video is financial advice, or any of my videos is financial advice, guys. I need to get that big disclaimer out, okay? Muy importante, because then, we'll get YouTube coming out here, thinking that, hey, what's going on? Right? Well, who's this guy on YouTube thinking he's a financial advisor? Absolutely not. Okay. Big disclaimer here, guys. Content only for education. Muy importante. All right. This is only my opinion, and my opinion only. Treat it as educational content only. Okay. Let's go right away. And now, yes, after that said, we can discuss the different scenarios. Okay. We need to talk about a little bit of yesterday. And obviously where we are right now, because hey, we got a little bit of a internal swing failure pattern. We need to have these pivots ready. We had these pivots ready last week, right? We had two major pivots last week for possible liquidity grabs, right? For a very, very aggressive entry. Let's just zoom in here right now, and I need to go through the comment section first of all, okay? But man, there's so much to talk. Two major pivots, two major lower highs that we've got here, on the 1 hourly, 4 hourly, 50 minute, doesn't really matter. And, both of them getting a reaction. Both of them, this one obviously being a very good one. This is the one that I entered. I got stopped out from the rest of the position eventually. But, we need to take profits very aggressively, right? If the market gives it to us, and we need to look for longs. Yesterday, I was more interested in a short. Very hard to really detect. There was no major pullback, right? If you didn't long here, it was difficult to long here in this zone. Maybe some people jumped into longs, which is okay if you can manage risk, right? If you do get that pullback, you need to understand that you need to be defensive. That's all. So anyway, this pivot getting a swing failure pattern, obviously a very aggressive one. And today also just getting into that lower high and getting a little rejection of, $1,000 or so, right? Not a very, very aggressive move down, but interesting for a scalp for anybody that had that level ready on the chart. We're going to get some levels ready. We're going to get some scenarios ready. And we're going to analyze this pump because this pump looks impulsive. It looks like it is coming to the end stages as well, because the biggest volume and the biggest wave is right over here. Anybody that knows a little bit of Elliott wave theory knows where I'm going here, right? Where you'd need that big volume move to stop at some point. I would consider this a okay stop, to consider it an internal fourth wave. You know where I'm going right now, right? So, if you have a 1, 2, 3 big wave with high volume, what you're looking is your fifth wave to be developing, right? And what happens after a fifth wave? Well, you are looking for that reversal, right? Either in a correction or in an impulsive move down. The problem is right now is detecting, has it finished or not, right? Or do we extend a little bit more? Because, we got some clear examples where that fifth wave can be a little bit punchy. It can be a little bit punchy. We did get that a few weeks ago. Who remembers this movement to the downside? I'm not sure if I still have it here somewhere. Must have it here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. This one right over here. Who remembers this scenario, right? Which was a couple of weeks ago, which we were analyzing an impulsive move down, right? Which we added 1, 2, 1, 2, third wave, right? Sideways, fourth, fifth, looking for one more. And look at this fifth wave. This was punchy. This was aggressive. This got a significant move to the downside, right, as a fifth wave. So, the question is, obviously, with that fifth wave, you can detect that it could be coming to the end stages. But those end stages, the price might pump another couple of $1,000s and then reverse, right? So that's what we're going to try and detect, the major levels of resistance that we are looking at. What would be interesting for new longs eventually, this zone for new longs, unless you're scalping and you're getting into one of these higher lows on the lower time frame, yeah, we can say it's acceptable, right? Because you could have longed yesterday at any level, right? You could have just jumped into longs. Right, so anyway, we'll be discussing a little bit what is going on here. Bear with me, we got a good one today, guys. We have got a good one, all right? And we just adapt to the market condition, right? And, got a comment yesterday, only 1 out of 30 comments, right? It doesn't really matter, but I go to the, comments. You're bearish, hope your shorts get wrecked. I was in short from higher, and, this was a short attempt, but we talk about the zones where, I'm not interested, right? I'm not saying about you. I'm not interested. If you break, it's the same thing, guys. We talked about it. It's the same thing as this pivot. The same thing right over here. If you break that fair value gap, little order block right over here, the chances of blasting through are very, very high. The same as this one. If you lose this level, yeah, we can nuke down. Well, yesterday was the same thing, but inverted, right? It's a, Bart Simpson pattern. In same thing inverted, head and shoulder if you wish, right? If you like, a technical, pattern trader. If you break this zone, yeah, and you want to stay away from being in a short. If you break this level, you can cut your losses very, very quickly. Very, very quickly, right? Look at this. The green box isn't here for decoration. It's to say that, be aware if you break this level. I would not be interested in being in a short or adding into a short or any of that nonsense that's going to get you wrecked. Manage, trade, have a plan, and realize, we could say you were wrong about this 5-wave move down, right? This is what people like to say. You were wrong for being bearish, right? No, the whole point is understanding where, their invalidation is and where I would be wrong so I can get out of the market quick and safely, right? With a very, very small scratch. That's where the difference is, right? From being right or wrong. It's managing your risk, understanding very quickly where you're wrong. So you get the point, and right, this proves my point right over here when we talk about, look, if we come up to hit that 87,700 and we get a rejection, which we did not, you know, it would be an interesting entry and good risk management. Obviously, you know, why wouldn't you short higher or in the middle at 89, at 90K, right? There was no other shorts to be taken here. If we break through, it's going to pop out. And this kind of proves my point here when we talk about risk management. All right, proves my point. You break this zone, you know, I'm not interested in any type of shorts if we get a blast off, right? That's your limit zone to reverse from here. If you don't, we're looking for a pop, right? So you want to stay away from being in shorts, right? So yeah, just a little bit of a, you know, obviously the education and obviously how you get into that trading plan, and understand when you talk about a bearish case, you know, I'm wrong, right? I'm wrong about the bearish case, but nobody knows what the heck's going to happen at the end of the day. And we can obviously have those bullish projections, and you know, your best, you know what's going to be right? The only thing that's going to be right 100% of the times that you have the power to be 100% time right is on your risk management. You are the only one that has the power to do that. And eventually, you know, in this industry, it's just very, very difficult. It's very emotional. It's going to reverse. It's going to pump. I'm going to add to the position and all of this nonsense. You are taking those decisions. You are the only one that has the power to have 100% good risk management. We can't be 100% right on the charts. Never, guys. It's just impossible, right? Throughout the, you know, you can be good and be right more than wrong, but where you're 100% right always is in your risk management. And that's where a lot of people struggle with, right? So that's something that you really, really need to, you know, crack on instead of analysis and all of that, right? We can get some trading plans. Don't worry. You know, I'm going to explain a little bit of what I'm looking at. Anybody that was, you know, ready for this, you know, whoever's been at, hang on a minute, guys, I'm going to turn the AC on because it's getting hot in here. That's it. AC is on. Drink of water. Comment section. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I think we got a bit of time, guys. We do have a bit of time. We've got New York Open still in about 40 minutes from now. So no major rush. No major rush. Okay. Next week is an important week as well, guys. We do have interest rate decision. We got, you know, it's a packed week. We can talk about what happened in, you know, in history, you know, throughout the last few months with interest rate decision on the chart. Anyway, let's go through comment section. Very important. I feel bad if I don't do this. Okay, I need to say hello. Zhao Tao, much love. Andy is the GOAT. Much love to you, brother. Much love to you. Thanks for the kind comment. Stan Kubona, what's up, my man? I already like the stream. Absolute legend. Smash up the like button. Leave a comment later on the stream, guys. The #1 talk show in all crypto. Get your butts in your seats for Andy. Let's rock and roll. Much love. Thank you very much for the kind words, my man. Let's go. Mikael, how are you doing? Andy, mate, come on live. Yes, I am here. Bath, much love to you. Oh, yes, Suman. Let's go. Staff One, much love, brother. Thanks for joining the streaming and giving that support, as always. Next move's going to be huge, says Amateris. Hey, Andy and Legends. Jack, much love. What's next then, Andy? We'll go through that. Well, don't worry. I've detected a few moves, right? Just based on the information that we have, and we'll go through that. Jerome, much love. Could it be an extended wave 4? An extended wave 4. I'm not sure if you're talking about the 15-minute or the 1 hourly time frame. It's winter here. No AC here, Andy. Yeah. Well, yeah. In Dubai, it is. It's the temperature's great, but if you've got some lights on you, obviously you need to turn the AC on, right? It's not that cold here. This was 4, still has some room. I'm not sure what time frame you're talking about. We're still there, bro. Much love. Good morning, Toddy. How are you doing? Expecting. Smash up the like, legends. We're going to go through some scenarios. We're going to go through some scenarios here. All right. We ain't here to be right or wrong. We're here to talk about what could happen, right? What could happen? Maybe this, maybe that. If not this, then that, right? Kind of thing. If not B, then C. So yeah, let's break it down today. And first of all, let's do a little bit of a higher time frame, right? Higher time frame. We came to this supply zone, right? Big supply zone where we got a big massive pump. So, you know, this is actually the higher time frame market structure, like the official market structure, even though you could still take out the low and pump very aggressively later on, right? It doesn't really mean that much if you do break this low, right? It's just this is being you know, on the higher time frame, this is technically your last higher low, right? As you can see right over here on the chart. Anybody that wants some simple things, right, instead of Elliott wave theory, which is very, very complex. Market structure, supply zone, right? This is a supply zone. After this consolidation, you know, we got a massive rally. So it seems like, you know, the big money, you know, is interested very much, has been very interested in buying here at these low 80K levels, which is kind of where we came into, right? We came into this zone, got that point of control, the highest volume spike right there, which has actually been holding, right, throughout the last, you know, few days, right, throughout last week and so. So yeah, supply zone down here, getting a bit of reaction. Are you feeling bullish? Are you feeling bearish? Let me know in the comment. I'll read you in the next coming minutes. But what we're going to break down here is lower time frame. We're going to go through lower time frame and see what is exactly going on with Elliott wave theory and the levels of resistance that we do have when we do get the volume profile. Something to take into consideration. We got that big cluster around about 96.5K on the volume profile, which was broken pretty successfully a few weeks ago in November, right? High volume node from the last year's price action, right? We've been in the same, look, back last November, December, we were in the same price zone, right? 1 year ago exactly, we were trading here at this 90K area. So the price hasn't done much in 1 year, right? Unless you've been trading very successfully. So big cluster right there, high volume. Simple things, let's get simple things right out here. High volume, supply zone, which is actually holding right over here. Very nice. Bullish market structure still on the higher time frame, right? Higher time frame, right? Then we analyze this movement down, which is most interesting, and especially the local movement to the upside, which is even more interesting for the day traders, right? So we'll get to that point right away, okay? We'll get to that in the next coming minutes, guys. Bear with me, okay? Let's zoom in a little bit to the 4 hourly time frame, discuss the different scenarios, right? This movement to the downside, which is coming to that supply zone, that point of control of that range, right? Very, very nice indeed. An anchored VWAP here also got a bounce. Okay, we did get a bounce from an anchored VWAP from very high time frames, but to the exact dollar. Let's just show that anchored VWAP. People want to know what anchored VWAP, right? Maybe not. It's a major higher low, right? Major. We got pivot higher lows where we can get anchored VWAPs on, right? And this one right over here, which was just after the ETF launch, right? Approved spot ETF. Right over here, back in January of 2024, that higher low anchored VWAP got a very, very nice exact bounce into the supply zone right over here, right? This was a couple of weeks ago. So when we zoom in, okay, we got the bounce. What's going on right now? You know, do we see a reversal? You know, obviously more interested in shorts, guys. Okay, I have to say, bear with me. Yesterday, it was interesting for the short. We talked about the risk management. 2 days ago, we were interested in longs, okay? 2 days ago, we were interested in longs. We are adaptive traders, depending on the information that we got, okay? Today, we might talk about a short. Tomorrow, we might talk about a long, right? It's looking at different, you know, projections that could happen based on the information that we get, right? Because the charts tells a story, right? It tells us a story. And with that story, we need to kind of adapt to the storytelling, right? And so yeah, you know the deal, right? The other day, 2 days ago, we talked about a long. Yesterday, we talked about a short on that possible wave 4, but we were very much aware of, you know, this movement to the downside being a 3-wave structure. There is that potential, guys, of this being a 3-waver, right down here. So we were like, don't get too excited in any shorts here. Okay, the only one that has to be taken is down here if we do reject, right? Just that cross here is not for decoration. It's like no short zone for me anyway, right? And the risk management is there. Get that pump, get that rejection, possible entry if the market gives us that rejection, right? Manage risk. This ain't a zone to play around, right? If you're feeling bearish, we know our invalidation. We know when to not enter a short position. If you break out certain zones, get out quick before it's too late and you get wrecked, right? We know that, guys. We teach risk management, I think, very well. So let's go back here through the 4 hourly time frame. Let's talk about a little bit of resistance and support levels. Then we'll crack down the 1 hourly Elliott wave scenarios. But now it's nice to talk about resistance and support zones, right? We're mainly talking about resistance as we're pumping up here. And then we'll break down the Elliott wave scenarios on the 1 hourly, 15 minute. That's where the meat and potatoes is, right? That's where the action happens. So first of all, zooming out, bit of resistance. We do know that there's 95k area is muy interesante, muy importante, because we do have, the anchored VWAP. We've got 2 major pivot lower highs. Well, highs in this case. This is all-time high up here. Let me know if I'm in the way or not. I'll get myself away from the chart if necessary. Major pivots, all-time high. This lower high right over here on the 27th of October. 2 major pivots where we can anchor some VWAPs. That's why it's called anchored VWAP, right? So this lower high right there, anchored VWAP, is coming down at 95.2k. We're still not there. We're still not there. Could the market top out here? We're going to go through the 15-minute later on and discuss the chances here, because maybe some double tops are not bad for an entry. I have to say, this lower high pivot, we talked about this last week, guys. These 2 pivots are acceptable for an SFP. And whoever's been doing local time frame analysis understands that getting into an SFP for a potential 5th wave is always a good option. Siempre, always. Always, if you have a major pivot lower high for a, internal swing failure pattern, and you can detect from the lows that we had on Monday, that you can detect that you've had an explosive move up, a little consolidation, and then you have the next leg to the upside. If you have a plan at a major pivot for a swing failure pattern, it's an entry zone. It is an entry zone. Why not? Why not? Maybe it is the high. Maybe, I don't know. But I know where the price could get rejected. Major pivots, guys. Look at this. I'm in the middle again. Get out. Right? Major pivots. So it's crucial sometimes to really say, okay, if we would have seen this volume breaking out very aggressively still throughout yesterday, with and not stopping, you don't want to fight that big massive train that is, or that rocket in this case, right? That's just pushing and pushing with no major stops. The moment you get the first stop is when you can speculate that your 3rd wave is in, right? Maybe the 3rd wave is in right now and we're developing 4th and 5th wave when you start getting a little range. When you get that little range, then this movement to the upside, if you have some clear levels of resistance and you're going on the 5-minute time frame to really try and spot here a 5 waver, which we did get. We did kind of get a 5 waver here on the 5th wave on lower time frames, right? That's the magic of Elliott wave theory if you're paying attention. Then obviously, why not? This is giving you an epic entry, an epic stop loss. This best case scenario for the shorters is this. This is the best case scenario for the shorters right there. The risk that you are taking here is peanuts compared to what you can gain. There is a scenario that this could happen, legends. It's a valid scenario. Let's leave it that way. It is a valid scenario. What's going on? Why are we dumping right now? 6 o'clock. we have any major news today. Got no news. Maybe something happened, guys. Let me know. I mean, it's not much of a major move down, but we're getting some volatility in here. So at 6 o'clock. Is there something happening today at 6 o'clock? I mean, this is UAE time. ISM, this is in 1 hour. Hang on a minute. Let me refresh this. Got New York Open in 30 minutes still. It's probably just a regular dump. Let's see if we are getting some volume in here. 17 million shorts entering here with open interest. We're getting some aggressive shorts coming into the market here, at least on Bybit. Bybit here wanting to short here for some reason. Anyway, getting a bit of a dump. What I want to explain is, you know, if you've been paying attention here to this this movement to the upside, this pivot just gives you a good SFP level, right? Why is it a good acceptable SFP? The main reason it's a good SFP is, apart from a liquidity grab, right? You got two major pivot lower highs, this one and this one. You know, it's just a good entry. And when you have a little bit of Elliott wave knowledge, what you can detect. Holy smokes, why is this moving down so aggressively, guys? Let me know in the comment section. Non-farm payrolls numbers. Why haven't I got this here on trading economics? I only have PMI, which is in about an hour from now. Non-farm payrolls, stock market also getting a little bit of a dumpy action. Nothing too aggressive when we zoom out. On the 5 minute, it's a pretty aggressive drop. S&P 500 is at a very interesting zone at the moment as well. Very interesting zone. It's a pivotal zone to either take out all-time high or really get a, you know, this has been a local top and we get a rollover. Just because, you know, there is a way of counting here a contracting diagonal, okay, on the S&P 500, and we are at this 7-8 Fibonacci, which is kind of a, you know, your common limit zone. All right, to get that reversal. 7-8 here at 6,862 points on the S&P is 7-8 is being a barrier after a potential contracting diagonal. There is a way of fitting some kind of a corrective structure here, but contracting diagonal it looks interesting in a leading move down, right, in a motive wave. Anyway, we're not here to talk about S&P 500. We're here to talk about Bitcoin. But as explained, you know, this gives you an epic entry. You know, this SFP, which we talked about last week, guys. I know when we're talking about on the stream's lower time frame, you know, we talked about these two pivots well beyond last week when we were trading here to the upside, that they are acceptable SFPs. 93.8, 93,080, and 93.7K. They're just good major pivot lower highs. And if you are analyzing the lower time frame, well, you can eventually detect the possibility of a fifth wave being finished, right? A fifth wave possibly getting to the end stages. You can clearly see this, guys. I hope, you know, the Elliott wave knowledge is really sinking in, because it is highly detectable when the probabilities can shift, right? So we're going with this sideways 2, which was, you know, yesterday this did look very corrective. Well, there was a way of fitting a 5 waver. We talked about it. However, you know, longing here is very difficult. If you do have a 5 wave move up, you would want a bit of a deeper wave too, because it's what is most common. However, that was not the case, right? That was not the case. We just went sideways. It was a shallow sideways momentum here after that potential 5 wave move to the upside, right? A bit of a sideways, you know, running flat or WXY, it doesn't really matter. Then we popped out in the 3rd wave. So after eventually this 3rd wave, you get that stop, right? That's what you want to see with increasing volume, right? And then that decreasing volume into the consolidation to then pump up here with more decreasing volume, right? And, you know, you can see it on the chart, right? There's not much drawing to do here in this zone. So it's really kind of speculating is that fifth wave in or not, right? Or do we get continuation to the upside in a bit more, small little four, 5 waves, right? Because there is a chance for this momentum to be a multiple 1-2, this momentum to the upside. Not the best, I have to say, not the best. Multiple 1-2s where you got a third wave and now it's 4-5, 4-5, right? And you stretch your legs in a few 4-5s, just because you would have to consider that this could be a few multiple 1-2s, right? 3 1-2s in this zone. I have to say, I'm not favoring that scenario, just because your second wave is much larger, right? When you do speculate on multiple 1-2s, you don't like to see the second wave 1 being much longer than the first one, right? It's much better to obviously label this as a 5 wave move to the upside, and then sideways correction, or either a zigzag down, and then obviously you're looking for a higher low if this is going to be corrective. This was very shallow, guys. Not an easy long to get up here into resistance. Longs were better, as explained before yesterday, right? Or Monday, we talked about longing the reclaim of this low. I know some of you remember, right? Not for the new members, but we talked about longing in this area if you get back above this pivot low. So longs, you need to take profits eventually, because we've got some bearish scenarios that we need to talk about. This movement down is looking pretty aggressive. But just so you get the point, we always cover education, then we'll go in through the meat and potatoes, getting a little bit of a dumpy action at this moment. We can analyze to see if what we need to see, right, for our next setup. But I would say the clearest one that we had early this morning was this, well, depending on where you are, might have been late last night, is that SFP from that major pivot, to speculate on the end of a 5th wave. It's just crystal clear, guys. There's no more to it. Remain patient. Don't get in, no shorts. We didn't talk about any shorts in this range. Obviously after getting that breakout. But if you have the knowledge, and because here you know about what we teach, right? What I teach here and what we talk about on the educational side, is that we look at Elliott wave theory a lot, and we can detect the moments that we are getting exhausted, either finishing a possible 5th wave, or when we are possibly forming a 4th wave or not. 4th waves can be a little bit tricky, just like yesterday. We talked about this being maybe a 4th wave. That's the thing. We know our invalidation, we know our risk management, we know our levels of confluence. If you break them, we stay out. It's simple. Trading is more simple than you think. However, you need the knowledge. Eventually. Once you have the knowledge, it's very, very easy to detect the invalidations and your risk management. You need dedication eventually, right, for it to be relatively easy when we talk about, managing risk at the end of the day, right? So obviously one of these things that we talk about is try and detect that 3rd wave, right? Try and once you get a blast off with increasing volume, don't worry, the price is going to stop at some point, and when that price stops is when you can label that stop as a potential wave 4, right? That's pretty clear, because we have it on the chart here right now. Right, we'll discuss what could be next, which is more important, but keeping in the educational side first, and then we'll go into the meat and potatoes, guys, to try and predict what the heck's gonna happen next. We do that, but that comes maybe later on into the stream, right? So I want to get the people coming in here, smashing the like button, leaving your comments, get ready, get your coffee, because we like to do the stream first 31 hour, a little bit of education, right? That's what we do, because then you're like, oh, I think we're forming this, right? When you do your own analysis, right? Oh, I think we are doing this, like Andy, teached us. Oh yeah, it did do this. Well, that's great. Well, I can enter a position here. Where's my stop? Here, right? And then you can build up your own strategy, right? At the end of the day, that's what we do, guys. That's what we try and do anyway. People that don't like it, there's many other channels that will talk about moving averages. You can go and watch them. So in this point right over here, as explained, obviously this is a bit of a sniper if you want to be, trying to catch the high, which is for only the brave, right? If you want to be catching the high, it's going to be interesting right now because we might go to higher levels. If we do not continue with this movement down, we might be forming a correction, and that means that maybe this move to the upside has not finished after all. And what we have here is multiple 1-2s, right? And we can get that information with this movement here. It's getting a nice bounce on the lower time frame, I have to say. Getting a nice little reaction bounce. We're gonna talk about this zone now. Bear with me. All right, and if it is gonna be overlapping here, that we're gonna label this as high probability correction, and to take out the local highs. Maybe there's gonna be some scalp longs that we can get into. We'll get to that point right now, guys. Bear with me. Just want to cover this. Where would have been a great entry point, right, to get the absolute top. And obviously it would have been this SFP major pivot lower high that we talked about over a week ago. And obviously if you are, watching carefully what's happening here on the local time frame with this pump, you can detect that possibility that you're finishing that fifth wave for the reversal. And what makes this incredibly speculative, right, is obviously taking into consideration the higher time frame downtrend, because this is without a doubt a swing short zone. This has the potential, right, and I'm happy with the potential. If I get a sniper entry with a stop loss that looks like, you probably can't even see the stop loss on the higher time frame, this has the potential to take out the low. If you got into that sniper SFP right there, detecting the lower time frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending the fifth wave, you're interested in detecting the fifth wave at a level of confluence. An SFP of a major pivot lower high is fine. And, it just gives you the entry and good risk management. Let's stay away of you are bearish and you think that we're going to reject from here and claim 80K, minus 80K in the next few days or next couple of weeks. It doesn't matter. I only need the potential and a good entry, because, my stop loss can be absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't matter, right? It can be really small. But the whole point here is that if this still has potential to be that higher time frame wave 4, the potential is there. We'll discuss right now what we need to see eventually, looking at the lower time frame, okay? Bear with me here. We will discuss that. And obviously, we'll discuss the local scenarios. But if it has the potential of, what if this is the wave 4? What if this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4? And what if this is a zigzag or a WXY as explained, right? In the last video also yesterday, right? What if this is an ABC? What if it is a three-way structure? I got someone asking about the C wave usually extends a little bit higher. And I have to say, yeah, that is true. Usually a C wave extends a bit more. But also I've seen C waves that just claim the highs of the A wave, right? There is a possibility of labeling this as a WXY, which is not the best looking WXY, but it has the potential. If it has the potential, I'm happy. And if I have got a level where to enter with good risk management, I'm happy. I'm going to give it you would give it a chance. I mean, this one is, this one's a bit punchy. This WXY is a little bit punchy. But, I have to say it's a valid count, even though it's not the best looking one. It's a valid count. Triangle here in your wave X, ABC up, and then a big major flat, which would, is a little bit uncommon when you get an X wave, which is so shallow like this, especially in a triangle, right? It's just, not the best looking one, let's say, but it's a valid count. If I have that valid scenario, then, if you got a solid entry, when you take a look at the lower time frames, then you would take the shot. The information that we do get right now with the local price action can, possibly give us a hint that maybe this is not the high and we are going to go to higher levels. We are going to get that information right away because we got getting a little bit of a dump in pump. 5 minutes is going to be more interesting here. Big dump, too many shorts entering the market. And this is already looking pretty okay. If we pump a little bit more, this is going to be looking like a three-wave structure. This is the moment where the bears have their chance. And the bears really want to nuke down from here. They want to push the price down, right? Get it lower, form a five-wave impulsive move to the downside. If they fail right now, which we are, I would say we're almost failing at this point, for this to be an impulse, your second option would be a double 1-2. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to see throughout the next coming hours. But if you claim this pivot, there's going to be, a higher probability in claiming this high. This will be very much the start of a possible corrective structure. Right, probabilities would just increase if we do get a major rally here. Golden pocket would be our first major hint that this could be a three-wave corrective structure. Now you need to bear with me here because this three-wave structure doesn't mean, well, that's it, we're going to hit the highs if we start hitting these pivots, because you could form a larger correction, right, in a zigzag up, and then you form a zigzag down and you form a double zigzag. Okay, so, this could still develop throughout the next coming days. For the moment, pretty aggressive move down. We need a lot of information. We'll crack down here the lower time frames, but, let's just still cover the different possibilities. I'll go through the comment section right away. Okay, so is there a chance that we could top out either here or either claim the high and, double top, or maybe a triple top, get to 95K? Absolutely. We are still downtrending. We still need to consider that the trend is down. That, there's no invalidation. Still, this can be a correction. This can be a corrective move, guys. It can be a corrective move. If it can, then we consider that scenario, right? It's more interesting to obviously speculate in shorts up here, right? Based on the higher time frame, based on, you got possible, impulsive move down, which your fourth wave has not been developed. You have a possibility of, all of these different corrective structures, either A, B, C, which could extend a little bit more as long as you're not hitting that invalidation, which is at 97K. For this impulsive scenario, you got the anchored VWAP that is coming down, which is still, it's about $1,000 still to the upside at 95.2K from the recent highs. But, you got a lot here, a lot going on. You got a point of control as well. It hasn't been hit. Weekly naked point of control. There's a lot of resistance. You just need to consider, even though on the lower time frame, maybe this impulse, if this is going to end up being corrective and you do not claim this low, there is a good chance that, possibly you're getting multiple 1-2s here. Third wave, 4-5, 4-5, right? And you just continue grinding up to hit 95, 96 potentially, right? You don't want to hit that 97 invalidation, but you need to understand that multiple 1-2s, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 is a possibility, and we can detect that right now. Price got a major dump, lots of shorts entering on Bybit, forming bullish CVD divergence. I mean, that's what the bulls want to see, guys. That's what the bulls want to see. They want to see, okay, those people shorting up here. People want to short. You're still forming higher lows, right? And on Bybit, you got such a huge, massive amount of shorts entering right now throughout the last hour. 23 million shorts trying to push this down. It's going to be very, very interesting now what's the next move, because if we do, the ultimate level of confirmation would be what would be the 93.2k, right? If you push up to this region, then look no further. There's high probability that this movement down from the rejection today at 94k is likely corrective. And obviously there's two options here. You pump up here, you correct down, and then you pump out in a 3-4-5, or you actually form a sideways or a double zigzag, right? Down in a WXY. You can form a zigzag up and a flat here, and then you pump up. The different scenarios are endless eventually, but that would just confirm that you're likely going to take out this high at some point, and what's in your best interest is detect the movements of the correction. But we need to get up to this zone. That would be the ultimate confirmation zone to increase in probabilities of taking out $94,000. So you know we need some information. Any sniper traders here, right? We probably came down here to a point of control from this region. Well, it's all the way down here. This is kind of interesting. The previous day value area high. You also do not want to lose this zone, the previous day value levels, which is kind of wanting to reclaim it. Previous day value area high is trying to hold here, and the danger always of getting back inside of previous day value level is obviously getting that previous day value area high to act as resistance once you complete a 5-wave move. So if the price were to continue down in this wave, would still label that this is maybe building up a third wave. We don't know if it's going to be a C wave as of yet. There is a possibility, no doubt, that this could be a 3-wave structure, but you need that confirmation, get back above this zone, then we can look for longs without a doubt if it is looking good in this region. But if it were to break down eventually, get inside previous day value zone, and you do get that third, fourth, fifth, right, and then the bounce, that's where it's looking interesting to really go on a short, right? That's like the ultimate confirmation where you would want to get in. Shorting down here where we are at the moment is not the, I would rather speculate on longs, if you ask me right now at this moment, locally, right? Would give that chance for this to be actually a kind of a bear trap situation. Just been a major nuke, lots of shorts entering on Bybit. You never like that scenario. You never like it. Big amounts of shorts entering here. 23 million in the last hour. And the bulls are kind of wanting to push up. This would not be a zone that I would be interested in shorting, if you ask me. This does look like more of it wants to push up. If it did not continue to the downside already with that movement down, it looks like the bulls want to hold that previous day value area high. We're gonna have to see. If you did not catch that SFP over here at 93.7, right? Remember that's the major pivot that we mentioned over a week ago, right? There was 2 pivots here of interest. I did manage to short this one, added a little bit to the position. That's the major short that I got in based on the SFP. And then there's this one, also very valid if you're looking at the lower time frame. If you did not short that exact SFP with good risk management, this is a dangerous short where we're at right now, as we're dumping. I would rather look for longs here locally than shorts, no doubt about it. If you don't, this still can be corrective. So if you want, if we wanted to get into a new short position, you need a little bit of local structure. I'm just going to be crystal clear on this. We need a little bit of local structure to the downside if you want to get into a high probability short position, if I wanted to get into a high probability, I'm saying about you, like if, I'm telling you what to do, but if I say you guys, we take it as a family, we take it as educational content. I don't want YouTube to give me another strike. Nothing in this video is financial advice. It's all education, guys. Okay, even though my wording might be like saying you, it's not like that. Okay, I'm talking for myself. If I wanted to get into a new short position, I would have to see this movement still continuing to the downside, still continue down aggressively, which I can label a wave 3, and obviously a consolidation for 4 and 5, and then that bounce. This bounce would be very, very interesting to analyze if we were to get that continuation down. But by no means I would say that this is bearish at the moment. This could easily be a corrective structure. We're going to pop out to 94k plus in the next coming hours. If anybody is feeling a bit snipey, this, not that we had much support beneath us, this would not be a zone that I would be interested in FOMO shorting because of the dump that we just had right now in the last 30 minutes, right? Looking at the lower time frame, you need a bit more of a structure down. You need a bit of losing levels, and this would actually would be inside of one of my strategies when we go and look at confluence, where you have the previous day value zone, which is relatively big because of the pump that we had. And if you lose that previous day value area high, obviously the highest volume node here is sitting at 91k. That's where the price could really dance around, right? If you were to get that continuation up. So if you did not short here, right? If I did not short here, my next short zone as an entry would be on sign of weakness on getting that first wave 1 down. You need the third wave still, little consolidation, and a fifth wave, and then ultimately that bounce. And obviously the previous day value area high, which is with today's value area low, right? Looking at 50% golden pocket would be my sweet spot. And there was a very, very similar short position. I would say not the same, but similar, that we talked about last week before getting this drop. So you need a lot of more structure. You need a little bit more weakness, because I would say maybe this is a 3-wave correction, guys. If we are going to pump up to take out that low high, I'm going to say there's a high chance that we take out this high, and then we'll have to analyze how we break out here, right? Do we explode or do we not? This is the same explanation, literally the same as this price action, guys. Okay, bear with me, because man, we love it, because we talk about it a lot of the times and it happens, and it just gives you that sweet spot for a possible entry zone. Pay attention to this price action that we talked about last week, because you can take a look at Saturday's video. We talked about a short right over here at 91,700, because what we literally said is, this has a chance to be a 5-wave move down. Not the best looking one, but we're not here for best looking movements. We're here to say it has a chance. If it has a chance, we can speculate on it. And obviously, we did talk about the $93,080 for an SFP. This is why, hey, if you did not get into the sniper swing failure pattern as an entry, you're late right now, right? You're late. This could be a correction. There's no need to get into a short right there. This could be a 3-wave structure, and we bounce and take out the highs. I understand that. This is why I don't want to get into a short if I'm not in a short already. So with this movement down that we had last week, you either catch the high or you wait for more downside, because there will be a moment that the price will form a 5-wavy structure, not the best looking one as explained, and get some kind of a bounce. if this bounce comes into the Valley area high, guys, I mean, I'm sorry. If you want to know exactly what's going to happen, nobody has a clue, right? I'm just giving you the possibilities. This could be the high, absolutely. This could nuke down, guys. This could be an ABC. It could be a WXY. It could be it, guys. You know, but we need more information. You know, this is like, who knows? This was the high. We talked about this has the potential of being the high. Whoever shorted this, yeah, absolute legend, right? Snipe at the SFP of that major pivot lower high, probably in the middle here. But if you did not, on Saturday, we talked about, hey, maybe we get that bounce and we come up to the 50% golden pocket zone. And if you break this Valley area high, you do not want to be in any shorts in this region. But your zone is 50% to the golden pocket with the Valley area high to speculate on this being a wave 1 or a wave A, and this being a wave B or a wave 2. And this is the movement that you want to be in already. And you know when you do not need to be in the trade, right? You know, based on my analysis, based on, you know, just analysis, right? That this is a zone that you don't want to be in the short. If you break that Valley area high successfully and you continue moving to the upside, you just don't want to be in the short. Why would you? If you're breaking the Valley area high of this range. So, I mean, that the main reason why I'm explaining this zone, guys, is purely based on what if this is an ABC? What if? I don't know. I know it could be. Let's be honest here, guys. I'm not here to say this is going to happen. I'm here to say it has the potential and where the opportunity lies. Oh, but I missed getting into a short at this SFP. That was such an epic entry here at 93.7. Well, you know, you had to analyze the pump up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has the potential. Fifth wave. Yes. Okay, cool. That, you know, tick. That's good. Elliott wave theory. 15-minute. Bam, bam, bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're hitting a major liquidity zone. Okay, tick. That's good. You know, you got a few minutes to decide if you want to enter. If you're going to FOMO short right now, you know, you just, it's more difficult. All right. Where are you going to put your stop? You're going to put it here? I don't know. Maybe here. I don't know where to put my stop here if I'm going to enter a short, you know. And I don't want to add to the position if we bounce. No. I mean, I would put my stop at this lower high at 93.2k, because if you hit that level, you know, let's be honest. I just don't like it. I like being a bit more confident. But if you wanted to short this bounce here, I mean, a valid stop would be this last lower high, because if you take that high, it's an invalidation. This is likely going to be a 3-wave structure, and you're likely going to take out this high, you know, sooner rather than later, either forming a double zigzag or a flat here in a WXY. It doesn't matter, you know, the chances if you take that high, you know, it would be your stop if you wanted to enter a short in this zone. Let's just keep it like that. But if you want a little bit of more probabilities on your side, you know, just as the similar explanation, guys, here. Right? Movement down. If you didn't get the SFP, wait for the bounce, 50% golden pocket at the Valley area high. That's the zone that you would be interested in. And, you know, stop, give it a bit of room. Local volatility. You got the chance of taking out these lows and even going lower. So with that explanation from last week, well, Saturday, right? It's the same theory here. This has the potential, just as we mentioned here, this has the potential to be the high based on, you know, what we analyzed here. This has the potential. We're doing the internal waves, ABC, WXY, bam, bam, bam. Oh, this has the potential of being the high, guys. It has the potential of being the high. If you did not sniper that high, then you got a possibility of a lower high here. And then obviously you don't want to look for shorts down here, right? I mean, we were talking about longs here. It might be an ABC. It might be a 1, 2, 3. Third wave is getting, you know, to the end. Fourth wave. Yesterday we talked about a short. Come on, guys. You know, it's the risk management is most important, right? I know anybody that watched the video, nobody's going to be in shorts or adding to shorts in this zone. If anybody paid attention of what we talked about yesterday, if we do not reject from this zone, which needs, would be nice to get that pump down. If you break from this level, guys, forget about it. We ain't rolling over, right? Unlikely that we roll over, right? And we just let the price pump out. It could pop out based on the fair value gap. I'm not worried about that for people that listen, right? I'm not worried because people know that if we broke above 87.7, that we could pump several $1,000s. People that were here yesterday knew that. So I'm not worried of the people that did not listen. I'm worried about the people that saw this and didn't pay attention on stop loss and everything and just, went all in on shorts or whatever. I'm worried about the people that don't listen, not the ones that listen, because the ones that listen eventually, I know that they were not in short positions anywhere in, after taking out this high. This is no, don't get into any shorts if you're rocketing here. So anyway, what I would want to see, this is a no short zone anyway. I mean, that's for me. I would prefer a sign of weakness unless you got the ultimate high here. What would need to happen is get that continuation down with a bit of higher volume. Separate yourself from here. This could be a correction. It's pumping up right now. It's getting that pump. It's probably going to be a correction. It's going to be labeled better as a correction. Let's see. Obviously, a multiple 1-2 has its chances. But yeah, we'll be discussing that later on. But what I would want to see for a little bit more clarity here, if I'm going to, want to get into a new entry, right, is get that movement down as explained. Move down. A session volume profile is going to be great for guidance here. It's going to be great for guidance because you do have the previous day point of control sitting here at 91k. So if it were to continue to the downside, you might get that little reaction bounce in this zone and then take out the low again and ultimately, not break down successfully from this higher low, right? And obviously the chart paints the picture. This is perfect higher lows to get a kind of an internal SFP. Not that I'm interested in any longs down here. I would be more interested. I mean, you could take a long scalp, I would assume eventually, right? If you can detect that fifth wave SFP, little bounce scalp. But what I would want to see to be confident on, guys, there's a good chance that we could roll over, is first of all get that 5-wave move down, get back inside previous day value level, and eventually look for that bounce to backtest the previous day value area high, and that 50% golden pocket zone is going to be your zone of interest, right? Which is literally the same as this, guys. This is why I explained this price action right over here. If you didn't catch the high, identify, see if you can see some kind of a 5-waver, big volume in the middle, and then the bounce up to the 50% golden pocket zone with the value area high that is providing you that resistance, choppiness, not breaking through, gives you that possibility of moving down, right? So that would be to get a new entry, right? Price nice little pump here as we speak. So this does look like it is going to be a corrective structure, guys. There is a good chance that we do take out the local highs. There is a good chance that we take out the local highs right now because we have failed as an impulse. It's failed. Kind of a 3-wave confirmation at the moment. 3-wave confirmation. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is what you want to see, right? To ultimately have a little bit more confident that this is likely, corrective. 3-wave move to the downside, taking out the start of that dump with high volume, which is very common to finish in a C wave, ABC, we're looking at this to likely be a correction, and at some point sooner rather than later take out $94,000. So now is where we need to analyze the movement to the upside. So this is where you understand that, you know, there's no shorts to be taken, right, in this zone. There's just no shorts to be taken. You got high probability in taking out those local highs at 94K, okay? And if it breaks out, we break out. Okay, so obviously, you know, this would not be a zone where I'm interested in taking any new shorts. We need more information to the upside. Break out the highs, right? And that's about it, legends. Maybe some people were confident in that long position. The moment you already overlapped the golden pocket from this pivot high to the low, yeah, they're already when you're already overlapping these lows, you know, that already ain't looking too bearish. Only a multiple 1-2 would have been an option, but when you have such a high amount of volume and you're getting into this zone, this is highly likely corrective. Highly likely we're going to take out this high at 94K, okay? So, I mean, this is obviously about decision and managing your trading scenarios, right? It's all about the decisions, because maybe some people are, you know, very, very bearish and just want to take shorts and just want to add to short positions, and they'll say, you know, screw that, I'm just going to short and add to shorts right now. I do not know how we're going to break this high. I know there's high probability in taking out this high at 94K at this moment, and I do not know how we're going to break through here, guys, right? This is the thing. I do not know. And that's what you need to understand, you know, as a technical analyst and a trader. So would this be an area that I'm interested in shorts right now? You know, absolutely not, guys. Just because the probabilities are high to take out 94K. And I mean, we can talk about some sniper scenarios, right? Let's talk about some resistance up here that we do have. And I have to be honest, there's really not that much, because the weekly naked point of control, we had those major two pivots, which they both got an SFP. But man, inside of this, would I consider a double top? I would have to say this, it would be a little bit aggressive. Local double top, we could consider. I could consider that. That a local double top, if it gives us the rejection, a quick entry, and we can be defensive, it could be a scenario. But if we break through, I would be looking for the price to get at least above 95K if we break the local highs. And that's where it's going to be looking interesting, because that's where we start getting some interesting resistance levels. Anchored VWAP, weekly naked point of control. We've got your next major pivot lower high, which is slightly above the weekly naked point of control at 96K. Yeah, that's going to be the interesting zone. That's going to be the next interesting zone. And what is in my best interest, if we were to break, you know, aggressively above those highs of today at 94K, what is my interest here is to really spot, you know, that 5 waver. So let's just imagine that, bang, you know, you get that explosive move up, and then you get the corrective move, wave 4. The move breaks out very explosively, right? More locally, and that's what I would want to see. Some kind of a detection of a 5 wave. I need the 3rd wave in. I need high volume on that movement and a stop. I need a zone to stop right there. And then obviously the 5th wave is the one that I want to detect if it's coming into resistance areas. Weekly naked point of control would be one. I mean, this is just being patient, guys, right? I can talk about 3-4 trading plans, and maybe none of them come to fruition. Maybe we form, maybe we're still ranging, right? Maybe we're still in this zone, in this area. tomorrow, right? And we haven't broken out. We just continued moving down. We're just expanding here the possible corrective move. But what we do is we talk about plans, right? We realizing what could happen and what needs to happen for me to take that trading decision. So if we are going to correct here right now, so we've got the pump up. If we are going to chop around, what I would like to see to take that bigger trade, these are bigger trades, guys, because eventually what I would be looking at is a big move of $5,000-$10,000. Those are the movements that I'm interested in, especially with you guys here on YouTube. We ain't not that interested in little scalping scenarios. So this would be a little bit of the scenario that I would need. Some kind of a detectable 5-wave move to the upside, and eventually you need your third wave in. You need high volume on that spike up, and then this local internal stop, which is usually shallow in Fibonacci retracement, the 236, the 382 Fibonacci from that wave 3, and then the next pop up is going to be the sniper moment, right? That's going to be the interesting sniper trading scenario that I would be interested at major levels of resistance. In this case, it would be the weekly naked point of control. Okay, weekly naked point of control, which is sitting at 95. I'm not sure why those letters are so. Oh yeah, I did do it for the thumbnail. I don't need that too big. Which is sitting at 95,700. 95,700, anybody that's not aware, it's basically the second week of November point of control, okay? When we do get the price action from this movement down and this consolidation, around about 95.6K, we got that weekly naked point of control. And that higher time frame, lower high right there, which is beautiful. They are great for liquidity grabs. Okay, so these are sniper trade levels. Anchored VWAP would be kind of broken, but still you can move above the anchored VWAP and reject on the daily. It turns out to be a major wick. But what is most importantly for me on the lower time frame is, hang on a minute, let me know if I'm, oh, there we go. What's most importantly for me on the lower time frame is to detect that 5-wave move up, right? That's what's most important for me, to take that decision, because you can move up like this, right? Form this correction, and then you popping out here with increasing volume and it's not stopping, right? It just doesn't stop. I need the stop halfway through, right? I need that stop halfway through, looking at the 15-minute time frame, right? To really detect, okay, that movement to the upside is clearly from this low, right? From a 3-wave low, that you formed a new fresh 5-waver of some kind, guys. It's never going to be perfect, but we try and draw it on what you're looking at. Big volume in the middle, that stop, and then the 5th wave coming into major crucial levels where the price can reject. This white horizontal line here at 96K is that higher time frame pivot lower high right there, right? This is a good SFP, just like this one and this one. We did SFP on both of them. We did swing failure pattern on both of them. Right? We did swing failure pattern from this one right over here. This was actually a major high. We dumped down, $8,000 or so. Today, we only dumped $1,000 from this one. But still, I mean, come on. It's an SFP. It's a major higher time frame pivot lower high. And if you are looking at the lower time frame, looking at Elliott wave theory, you do understand that you do have some interesting resistance coming into this zone. It's some interesting resistance, and when you go through the lower time frame, hey, it might be interesting to actually analyze, that 4 and 5 in this zone. 5th wave is your wave that you're interested in at this resistance zone. It's just a good way on how to execute the trades, manage risk. It's just a good way, guys. It's just a good way. So ultimately, with this volatility, this is, for the moment, high probability corrective. It doesn't mean that we need to pop out now from here, you know, and there is a bearish case scenario eventually, but we're going to have to see some more information, because maybe you're forming a contracting diagonal here, right? You obviously don't talk about contracting diagonals till you actually have, you know, at least the fourth wave in, right? You have 3 here. Well, it wouldn't be a contracting, it would be an ending diagonal. So you can't have a 3-3-3. Yeah, so that wouldn't be it. You know, it's just highly likely that this is corrective. However, it could extend for a little bit longer. You know, it could extend. We'd have to figure out here if the price were to dump down. Let's go through the 1 minute. We just need more information. Need more information here at the moment. Not very that interested right now. We have to see a sideways scenario. More sideways price action, because you got this. 3 waiver. We'd have to see some, you know, maybe a triangle pattern, because you have got zigzag down here, zigzag up. We'd have to see some kind of a triangle for me to be confident that this would be it. This would be it, guys. You know, longs would be interesting to hear on your E wave. WXY, you need a bit more information. A bit aggressive here, a bit aggressive if you wanted to look for a long. More locally, guys, you know, we were trying to spot here these intraday scalps. Bit volatile, bit of a dumping pump. You could probably back test. That previous day value area high. I got to be honest here. You've got some good volume right there, which has proven to be support. Right, got nice high volume node right there on the volume profile. This is likely, highly likely corrective. I'm just looking for a safer entry here with good risk management. Take a look at the volume profile. Yeah, I mean, you got an interesting spike right there on the volume profile that could be providing that support. I would say I would class this as a bit of a risky aggressive entry, if you ask me, on this pullback. Yeah, we'd have to see a bit more of a patient trader here. Would have to be a little bit more of a sideways momentum. Get more information, because you only got this aggressive zigzag down, very strong push up, almost taking out the high. To class this as a wave 2, a little bit too fast. I mean, your invalidation is the low here. This correction down to the golden pocket. Probabilities are higher to take out the high, just based on this 3-wave move down, guys, having this pump. You know, invalidation is here. However, the risk to reward is not that great, right? If you're entering somewhere in this zone, just ever so slightly a 2-to-1. I'm not sure if it is that worth it that much. Not sure if it's worth it that much, guys, for that 1.5-to-1 risk to reward. Would have to see some kind of yeah, I mean, this, as we've had this 3-wave move down, the possibilities are infinite. You know, this could be a flat right there in your wave. You know, this is the danger of getting in too early when you have a possibility extended corrective structure, where you could have a zigzag in wave A, you form a flat here, and then you form a triangle or another flat, right? And it just ranges till tomorrow. And what you're looking at is a W, a flat in X, and then another, sideways momentum. That's a little bit of the trappy scenario at this moment. would really leave this to develop a little bit longer. Yeah. Let's go through the comment section, see what the legends are saying, see what's going on in the comment section. Let's clean the chart a little bit here and say hello to the beautiful community and see what's going on in the comment section. I would class this as a little bit of an aggressive long here, if I'm honest. VWAP session, VWAP. Trying to play the game here, not doing much today. The session VWAP was acting as support, but it lost the level. No internal scalps that I would be terribly interested in here, if I'm honest. Yeah, you do have the previous day valley area high as support. This is highly corrective, but the correction could extend. That's the only bad thing, right? Where you can have a flat scenario triangle, right? You just take out the low, take out the high. Yeah, I just don't want to participate here mainly, if you ask me. But you got that valley area high volume node. It wants to do it. It's doing its job. This is literally a confirmed three-wave structure when we take a look at the 5 minute. You know, probabilities are higher at this moment to take out 94k. The problem is positioning with a good risk to reward. Just too shallow of a stop loss, too shallow of a take profit. There's no big risk to reward. It's not too great, guys. You know, when you haven't got too much risk to reward, sometimes it's not worth taking the shot. Let's go through the comment section, see what's going on. Oh, we've got over 500 people watching the stream. Let me know if anybody got into that sniper trade here as a short, and is it not worth it's worth being defensive right now, just because their probabilities are slightly higher to take out the highs eventually. But let me know, guys, anybody that is interested, guys, in trading. You do have some great perks down below. Okay, we got some great deals, okay, with the exchanges. Check them out, guys. Look at Bluffin right now. They are throwing the house out the window. Great exchange. Look at this. Absolutely awesome, guys. We ain't going to talk about this loud, but Bluffin is one of my favorites. It's where I have, you know, big capital myself. BTCC is also great. Okay, you got some great deals down below, guys, on the exchanges. Okay, these are the ones that I'm currently using. Also, you have Velto, which is, if you don't want no middleman, it's a decentralized platform, very similar to Hyperliquid, guys. It works absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, I've got Velto right over here. It's a great platform, guys. If you want to check that out, make sure to do so with the link down below in the description, okay? Great platform. Bluffin is great. BTCC is great. And you got some great deals, guys. Another way to support the channel eventually. Let's go through the comment section and see, you know, some cryptos have been pumping today. Some cryptos have been getting some pumps. Chainlink's at $14. I still hold a lot of Chainlink, guys. And I haven't done anything with my spot bags. I like to see Chainlink back above $14. That's good. Good for portfolio. 90 will be tested again. I love your lives, bro. Lilo, much love to you. Thank you very much. I love you. Thanks for the kind words. I love your lives. Thank you very much. Why is Trump speaking always scary? I know. Because supposedly, you know, when Trump was going to come in as president, everything was going to be looking great, right? We're going to make so much money, he was saying. We're going to be tired of making stop. I can't take it anymore. It's only winning. And we've had a bit of a shaky market, right? Suzanne, much love. Thanks for joining the stream. Let's go. Hit the like button, lazy chatters. What we at with the like button? We've got over 500 people watching. And the like is at 187. La puta madre. I cannot believe it. Let's go. It's time for comment section, legends. Time for a bit of comment section. Okay? It's time for a bit of comment section. Nice internal volatility. I'm not sure what's happened here. We did get the news coming out right now with PMI slightly higher than expected. Next week is an awesome week, guys. Holy smokes, we got interest rate decision. You know what I fear about interest rate decision? What happened in the next few, there's nothing much that we can talk about locally here, guys. You know, that locally there is a higher chance that we take out the local highs, okay? There is a higher chance. There's just no more to talk about it. This range can continue, and you know, ultimately there is higher probability in taking out 94k because of this 3-wave down, this big spike up. And you know, eventually I've explained a little bit of what I would want to see for my, you know, next short. Long in here, I mean, you know, take it with a grain of salt, guys, right? Previous day value area high, there is higher probability in taking out the local highs. So I mean, shorts in this area are not interesting till we get a pop out from recent highs. It's either double top, local double top, which I would be skeptical about, because when we get into a high, I would class, if we had a larger 3-wave move, you get a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4 and wave 5, that's an interesting double top. But when you only have a 3-wave move down and you got a one wave to the upside after this 3-wave, this does not become very interesting for a double top, because you're literally expecting a possible 3rd wave up, right? It's just you know, I don't like this double top, guys. I don't like it. This one, yes, right, from this SFP. That was a good entry today, guys, early this morning, whoever, or late last night, depending on where you are. That was an interesting SFP, guys. It's actually a pretty valid entry, and especially when you're looking at the local time frame, man, you're buzzing, you're in the zone. Whoever's like awake and doing gaming and paying attention to the charts, you know, you got that 1, 2, 3 nice sideways momentum for the 4th wave, right? And then you got that push up here. I mean, you could even class that movement down as the low. Bit shallow, but regardless, you know, a bit of a 5-waver into the level of resistance. A bit of a sniper, guys, with stop loss at the high right there. That's okay, because when you have all of this structure, you're saying, okay, you know, this could be the 5th wave. But when you're up here, guys, I would not class this as a good double top. You need to understand when there is a good SFP or a good double top. And man, it could. You might be forming a bit of a, you know, contracting diagonal here. But that's all depending on the information that happens in the next coming hours. So if you do, you know, take out the high, SFP, and then you take out the high again, maybe that second one will be interesting because you're forming a contracting diagonal. Well, I don't know, but you know, this would be an interesting one if the price takes out the high, rejects, and then this one could be one that you could speculate on, because then you would have this as a 5-wave contracting diagonal. But on the next leg to the upside, I have to say I'm not interested in this double top. You know, I would personally believe that you're going to pop out in a 3rd wave. So then for 5, then I'm interested in this lower high right over here, right, which is this one. Then I'm interested in that one, because that's where we have the weekly naked point of control as well. That's an interesting zone. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good SFP. We got some good high volume node on the volume profile. That's an epic SFP if we move up there in a 5-wave structure. 96k. Pay attention how we get up there if we do develop that 5-wave move. maybe this extends. Maybe there's a double 1-2 here, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, bang, right? Fifth wave extends a little bit more. And then that's the one that rejects throughout the next coming days. I don't know, guys. I don't know, right? We're speculating on many scenarios here, how to read the market, right? And how and figure out what next moves could happen. But most importantly is, when to understand when there is a good short and when there's a good long. At least for me anyway. And this is why if we do take out the recent highs at 94k, yeah, I wouldn't class this as a great double top. Only if you correct and take the high again, then this one becomes good because you could form a contracting diagonal. But I would be expecting a pop out in a third wave, right? And then correction, boom, fifth. And then you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know the deal, guys, right? I repeat this for new people that are coming in. I know you know this. The ones that have been following for some time right now. Anyway, it's time for comment section. Let's do the comment section. There's not much that we can discuss here locally right now. Just I think the local highs can highly likely be hit. Not very interesting to short, at least for me. If we roll down from here, just it's a missed short position locally. I'm talking about. It would be a missed short. The longs are looking a bit more interesting locally here to take out the highs. But yeah, the thing is that you need to understand is that this range could continue a little bit longer. Because you could form a flat here and then another, and then a triangle scenario, and you form a sideways WXY and then you take out the high, right? So probabilities are just higher locally to take out the recent highs. What can we say? Let's go through comment section. Great content, Andy. Don't let anybody lose your passion. We might be not much real followers, but you are a great educator and you guide us to survive those markets. I hope I do, man. It's understanding where I'm wrong as well and where I'm right and where we need to be safe, right? Because, it is talking about trading and technical analysis, right? At the end of the day, there's content. And what is most important for me is not the technical analysis. I've been going through, I've studied all sorts, guys. I've studied all sorts, order flow, CVD, moving averages, Bollinger Bands, MACD, RSI, Elliott Wave. You kind of keep what really works and what helps you with your risk management. What is most important is risk management, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what the heck is going to happen. But what you can understand with good technical analysis is your invalidations. And I'm more worried about, where to put stop losses. When I started my trading journey, the first 2 years were absolutely horrendous, guys. They were so bad. I was making some good trades and then obviously losing it in just another couple of trades, right? It's the history of every bubble, right? Of every trader. It's really hard to be consistent. It's really easy to get into a couple of good trades. But what was really hard and what you need to study is your risk management and understanding the technical analysis. Understanding Elliott Wave theory, I think, is one of the most powerful ways of reading the market eventually, because I do use it every day eventually. And it just makes you understand where you don't want to be positioned. I mean, yesterday we were talking about a short trade, guys. That didn't work out, right? This was the pivot to reject. But I got it right over here, guys. We don't only show the good stuff. We talked about it. If we do reject here at 87.7, if we attempt to break this high and reject, I would class it as a good entry and a good stop loss and a good projection based on risk to reward. But if we break out, guys, forget about any shorts. I mean, at least for me, I'm talking for myself. And today, the price action has proven me that, yeah, you were right that taking no shorts anywhere in this zone based off the fair value gap, right? I mean, I think a lot of people understand that anyway, but the people that don't understand it, you know, if you break that pivot, that's your invalidation for the wave 4, right? I mean, invalidation was slightly higher. You don't want to be in any shorts here. You know, you just don't want to be in any shorts. And that's what I tried to explain yesterday. So yeah, yesterday we talked about a short that didn't play out, but come on. You know, it's all about the risk management. It's all understanding, guys. I would not be interested in shorting if you break this level. And yeah, whoever tried to short any pump here, well, you know, eventually is having a bad time at the moment. And even worse right now, because this could be corrective and we could actually take out the highs and go higher. So yeah, you get the point, right? So currently market is bullish or bearish trend. I mean, we are bullish on the 1 hourly time frame. It all depends on what time frame we're looking at. You know, 5-15 minute, we are bullish still, right? It's uptrending. There's no signs of big impulse down. There's no signs. I mean, you got some SFP levels which are okay to take. You know, maybe this is the high, guys. I'm completely wrong. I could come on in tomorrow and say, oh my god, you know, I'll have to figure out what the heck's happened here. Very, very locally. I mean, this is the lower time frame. There's been a bit of internal volatility on the 5 minute, 1 minute time frame in the last 2 hours. Yeah, what I would have to say here, you know, zooming out, you know, based on that question, zooming out, I mean, on the daily, on the 4 hourly, we're still very much downtrending, right? What is the trend, bullish or bearish? Well, 4 hourly daily is bearish. We're still bearishly downtrending on the higher time frame. On the weekly time frame, even the daily time frame, if you wish, yeah, we're uptrending. We are still uptrending, right? On the daily time frame. This is your break of structure pivot on the higher time frame. As long as you're above $75,000 on the weekly and the daily, you could consider that we are uptrending. On the 4 hourly, we could say that you're downtrending. On the 1 hour 15 minute, yeah, we are kind of in an uptrend. I don't know, guys. I have no clue. I have absolute no idea, guys. Right? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I have no idea of what's going on. We can project what could be happening. So anyway, yeah, it's all of these things about, you know, where are we going? Is it bullish or is it bearish? Well, you know, we can say that the trend is down on the higher time frame, trend is up on the lower time frame. We can analyze where there's opportunities and how to manage risk, right? How to manage risk, guys. I would say I'm an expert in managing risk. So yeah, it's all about managing your trades. That's the important thing, right? Let's go. Damn, it's going down. Yeah, it's not doing that much. Got a bit of volatility down, up. Man, I just... Interesting here. You know, this is the thing. This range could continue. That's the thing here about having... Just because there is higher probability of taking out this high, it doesn't mean you cannot take out this low. You know, there is a chance you could form a flat here, right? And then another flat, and then take out the high, right? The range could continue taking out this low as well. It just, you know, that's the thing. That's when you're looking at the 5 minute, 1 minute. It's like a bit of a headache. There's too much noise. Too much noise on the lower time frame, I have to say. Kind of sweet spot is 15 minute for me. I like 15 minute 1 hourly. It's kind of the sweet spot, right? If you are in the 15 minute time frame It just gets a little bit of the noise out of the 1 minute, 3 minute time frame, right? And you know, if you did analyze the movement up in the last 24 hours, man, on the 15 minute, it just is like super nice, right? It is so nice, right? To just, you kind of fit it in with the drawing right there. You know, this is a 5-wave move up coming into a lower high, right? Liquidity grab zone. So it's all of those liquidity grab traders, SFP traders, they know where to execute that trade. And obviously it was that SFP right there. But then you get this lower time frame noise right there. We can just say there's just a high chance that we do take out that high at some point. And that what we're likely developing here is corrective based on the information that we have. So yeah, that's what we do here, guys. Good morning, my man, Baby Genius. Much love to you. I enjoy seeing you hopping on, because I remember, you know, there's no one called Baby Genius and has a baby on his profile. I remember you all the time. Thanks for joining. This is a mess. Duck Markets, it is a little bit on the lower time frame, a little bit of noise. Try to stay away when there's a bit of noise. You know, you can be aggressive, manage risk. I mean, this is the problem right now, when, you know, there is that based on the information that we got on the lower time frame, this classes better as a corrective structure that could extend ranging. Okay, it could extend, it could take out the low, you know, it could still form more sideways momentum. I kind of don't want to participate here right now. I mean, longs were more interesting 2 days ago, guys. Whoever got into a long here on a setup that we talked about on the stream, understanding, guys, you know, there's two options here. You either form an A, B, C and you pump up, or you form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Regardless, you know, a pump here of a couple of $1,000, it looks very, very interesting. So, you know, we talked about the execution, we talked about the entry point, we talked about the, you know, where to put a stop loss, at least for me anyway. And, you know, obviously looking for these TP level of TP1, you know, leave some open. I would leave some open, guys, just in case this ends up being a 3-wave structure. And if it is going to be a 3-wave structure, then eventually, you know, you have the potential of taking out 93K highs. But ultimately, you know, what we talked about was the entry, how to enter, reclaim that level. And, you know, you got a good risk management stop here. And then you either have the TP1 to sweep up the local highs here and leave some open just in case you get that squeeze out. So the thing is, right now where we at, a little bit too noisy. I mean, we would have to try and detect if there is any kind of a solid way to count this as an impulsive move. I mean, a flat here, well, it doesn't look great for a flat, because the only thing, you know, if we were to nuke down from here, you know, I would have to come with, wow, you know, what happened, right? What happened? You know, what's, you know, if this was a 3-wave move down, right? And you have to come to, you know, ideas of what if, you know, another potential here would have been a flat, but yeah, a flat doesn't look great. You would have to have a flat in an A wave, B and C. It just doesn't look great, guys. You know, I have to be honest here. It does not look great. This would have to be some kind of an ABC flat, which is horrendous. It is horrendous. This would have to be your wave 1. This would have to be your and your B wave, you know, hit the 618 Fibonacci, I'm sure. Yeah, well extended the 1.618. So need a little bit more information. I would not say that this is the highest probability. As explained, this could be a zigzag down. It could form a flat right over here. and then form a triangle, right? Could take out the lows, get back up, running flat. And, you know, the sideways range could continue. It's just a lot of noise at the moment. A lot of noise in this region. Bit of local volatility. Sweep the lows, sweep the highs. So, yeah. Too much noise. You know, what would be easier for me is to remain patient, just because I don't want to participate here. I would say I do not want to participate in either shorts or longs. If we dump down, we would have to see a clear 5 waiver. I mean, if we were to dump down from here very aggressively, consolidate and another low, then I would class this as some kind of a 5-wave move. And obviously the bounce is where I would be interested. I would be looking at the previous day value area high to back test 50% to the golden pocket zone from the high to the low. You know, we just have to obviously go with that scenario just to give me a little bit more confidence on the analysis. Or, you know, at some point reverse and detect that 5-wave move to the upside into resistance. You know, it's super important for me for that 5th wave to get into some resistance. In this case, we got that weekly naked point of control. Right, that is a plan. That is a plan that I would be happy to execute. Of course, we need that push up. I need to read that 5 waiver on the 15-minute. You know, and then, I mean, this is a clear level of rejection. There's no doubt about it. 96k, 95.8, 96k. Weekly naked point of control, which is literally, you know, the volume profile of this, you know, of 2 weeks ago. And, you know, that lower high pivot for that SFP, you know, it's a plan. So you just have to wait for that plan. And if the price moves down, unless you sniper trade the highs, which is not, you know, it was the only good entry in my opinion, like very sniper way of trading that SFP that happened from this pivot, then you would have to see, you know, proper weakness here and a corrective bounce. You know, that's the only way that I would say, okay, well, you know, now we can look for a short. You don't need to catch the ultimate low, even though it's nice. Best option for me throughout the last few days was on Monday to catch the low. We did talk about this long setup. I didn't have any major longs here. I mean, it would have been a correction, would have been better to study to get 3, 4, 5 as we did, but we got a very shallow pullback, and it's just things that happen. So you don't need to catch the low, right? Sometimes you just say, well, I missed this long. Well, it doesn't matter. You know, we got shorts, longs, you know, every day is different. We find opportunities regardless. If you miss, you know, I couldn't care less of missing any trades. It doesn't matter, guys. Tomorrow's another day. We'll try and spot another trade with good risk management. I'm talking for myself here eventually. And, you know, you could have longed, you know, you didn't have to long here. You could have longed maybe here if you could have detected it. You got, you know, many different zones to look for longs. The best long here from a few days ago was 94k. It was explained on the Monday's video live stream. Short trade, we talked about this one here. We did talk about last week the SFP from that pivot. It's all about taking action, right? We'll talk about this level for a short, and you know, we'll probably form a 5-wave move up, hit it, and then reject, and then, you know, next few days we'll have to say, guys, we were talking about this zone, you know, last week or a few days ago, right? We try and detect a little bit of, you know, levels that are interesting, plans that are interesting, right? When we don't like very much the zone where we're in, right? When we don't like the zone, when there's a bit too much noise. Yes, there's higher probability in taking out the highs, but it's very hard for me to participate in this zone right over here. I realize that the range could continue, right? We'll get more information. A WXY, as explained, could happen. And, you know, inevitably, right, if this is going to be the top of a three-wave structure, if it is going to be a top of a three-wave structure, we have several options here. An ABC, just a classic regular ABC. You have the WXY as well. Okay, WXY, there is a chance of a WXY here. Also, we just need that first major impulse. If you didn't sniper the ultimate SFP high on this speculative 5-wave move up, you need a clear rejection. Okay, that is going to give you that. Okay, boom, 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 5-wave down, corrective bounce. Right, previous day value area high is resistance. You know, you're looking for 50% golden pocket region. That's your zone of interest. To then look, you know, obviously that there will be a moment that you get that third wave down, right? 3, 4, 5. And, you know, you are interested mainly not only in catching the low of the 1-2s, right? You know, you basically want to get into the third wave, right? You want to get into this wave. This is why, you know, last week we did talk about this one on Saturday. If this is going to be an ABC or a 1, 2, 3, you know, that's your sweet spot right there at the value area high. If you want to participate already in this movement with a good entry and good risk management, stop loss, right entry, you know, looking for the lows to be hit. If we nuke down, perfect, you know, you're in a good position. So, you know, if you don't snipe the ultimate high at a major confluent zone or an SFP liquidity grab, you kind of, and you got a lot of noise, it looks corrective, it's just not worth it. You need that push down. You need some structure pushing down, because it will stop at some point and get a bounce. Right? Before you get a big move down, almost always, not always, but almost always, you get a first structure before getting the movement down. If you take a look at the price action throughout the last few days, before getting the big move up, you do get the first major structure. I mean, this pullback was shallow, I have to say. This pullback for me was not, I did not long anywhere here in this zone yesterday. But yeah, the pullback here was shallow. But before we got the big move, you can see, right, when you reject at either a high or a low, let's go to the 15-minute here, guys. Just so you understand, right? The big moves usually happen not on the first rejection, right? This was the local high here. You didn't nuke down, right? In one go. You didn't move down $10,000, right? In the first move. You got the first push down and then the bounce, and then you got the big move. And the same case is here, right? You didn't just go straight up. You got a bounce, consolidated, and then you got the push. So the same scenario, speculating on, you know, if you didn't short an SFP here, and even though right now I would not consider a short just because this has a high probability of being corrective, so it's kind of dangerous, especially if you don't know where to, you know, put your stop loss and manage risk. The best scenario is at some point get that big wave down. And, you know, 1, 2, 3, a detectable 5-wave move down, right? And look for the bounce and that corrective structure later on, where you could be looking for that, you know, third wave down. That's the wave that you're interested in. You're interested in this wave, but you need the structure rejection first. You're interested in this wave, but you're interested in the structure reversal first. Unless we are looking at the 15-minute time frame and we can detect the absolute low, which is what we did on Monday. We talked about low probability of nuking down here. So local double bottoms are interesting. Just because you had a bunch of 1-2s here, the third wave 4-5 4-5, guys, it's interesting to get into a bounce here. Right now, a little bit of too much noise. But anybody that is wanting to take the risk, the probabilities are higher to take out the recent highs, okay, just so you know, based on probabilities and lower time frame. But it's the entry point, right? It's the entry point I understand that we could form a zigzag and a flat, and then another and a triangle or another flat, right, and a sideways WXY, and then take out the high. So local double bottom, I would be, I would say could be acceptable. Sweeping up the low here and getting a bounce, if you get back above, could be acceptable. I would have to say for a bit of an entry, because then I would prefer waiting for more information here, or get the leg up 5-way bang to this level, look for the shorts, or get that clear structure to the upside, 3-wave up. Okay guys, now it's looking interesting for that 3rd wave down. So it's just sometimes you just need to remain patient if there's a bit of noise, and that's it. Baby Genius, much love to you. Can you review AVAX levels? We can take a look at Avalanche. Hope I don't have any super chats. Let's go through the comment section, guys. Thanks for smashing the like button, and make sure to drop your comments later on after the stream. A 50% correction like Harry Rance predicted. 126,000 and half, 63 would be nice. You know what? I would consider buying some spot Bitcoin below $70,000. I would start DCAing. You know what? You know why I'm not buying any more spot Bitcoin here? Because I still hold 75% of my Bitcoin that I bought throughout the last few years. I only sold 25%, 5% at 90K, 5% at 100K, and 15%, which was a good decision, at 125K, just slightly below 124K-ish was my average price sell. And said this publicly, guys, I'm selling 15% of my entire spot Bitcoin. And the main reason why I'm not DCAing, because I still hold a lot. And the only attractive zone where I would want to invest some of my cash into Bitcoin again is below 70K, losing this low. Giving the possibility of a flat, right? This is the ultimate break of structure of the uptrend. Yeah, this is the zone to start buying. I don't care about, we're not in an uptrend no more. We broke the structure. This is the moment to start DCAing, right? We get to 60 or 50K, even better, right? Ain't gonna go all in as soon as we get below 70K, but that would be the moment that I would start buying aggressively if we were to go down there. I think everybody knows that. Everybody wants to do that. So will we get those lows? I don't know, but I'm not buying any more Bitcoin until we get below 70K, if we ever go down there, right? We might not even go down there. This is why you don't need to sell everything or buy everything, right? Just DCA out, DCA in. I'm happy with what I have in cash, Bitcoin, trading. Anyway, what's going on? Avalanche. Oh yeah, I got a super chat here, and I kind of, bear with me here. I'm sorry, man. I got distracted with the comment section. Man, Avalanche, what the heck happened? I kind of lost interest with altcoins. Seriously, I've lost interest. Levels, scenarios. I mean, we are at. Let me get these wedgies out of the way. Yeah, man, people don't like me talking about altcoins. They know that it's not good news when I talk about altcoins. They're here for my Bitcoin analysis. Forget about altcoins. People don't like me looking at altcoins. Just so you know, whoever gave me the super chat, Stella and Stone, people don't like me when I flip to altcoins. Yeah, they know I'm only Bitcoin. Man, this point of control, this was getting some support, very heavily downtrending throughout the last year, 2 years since we got that pump into early 2024. My goodness. I mean, what are we talking about? Trading here or DCAing, investing? Avalanche is one of those, L1s that are, in the top 50, right? So, I mean, it's an interesting DCAing zone, no doubt. If you want to buy low, you know, there's not much low room. I mean, this could go to zero. This is the thing. This is the danger of altcoins, right? I've invested in a few projects, and you know, I just leave the bags there and see what happens, right? I don't go too heavily. I don't trade altcoins either. Most of the times I don't trade them. So new levels and new scenarios. What can we say here? It does make sense for this one to actually start getting some kind of a reversal relief, just because from this pivot high that we had in September at $36, you got your first leg down, your dead cat bounce, and then Nuke City here is the biggest wave with the biggest amount of volume. So eventually, once you have that big move down, you know, you're looking for the price to really get exhausted in that 4-5 or 1 2 3 4 5, you know, a bit of a contracting diagonal or expanding diagonal. It doesn't really matter. I mean, this is the thing about altcoins, right? You could see like infinite downtrend and it suddenly gets a pop out. Shit, I've had it with altcoins. You know, I'm not a successful altcoin trader. Let's be honest. I'm honest here with you. I'm not a successful altcoin trader. You know, there could be, if I put my mind into one altcoin and really do the analysis, then, you know, maybe I could get some good trades. But yeah, I would just literally say that this is getting ready for a reversal bounce. Okay, with that bounce is going to be powerful or not. We'll have to see, right? We'll just have to see. Just because this has already had a very, very aggressive downtrend with the highest amount of volume and price action in the middle, that this is literally what you're looking at. 5-waver down, getting exhausted. And it does make sense for Avalanche to get a pump, you know, throughout the next coming months, if not weeks, right? To, you know, about $20 region, just because it's very, very common to get that bounce into the 4th wave zone when you're looking at Elliott wave theory, and you are getting exhausted, setting pressure. It is downtrending heavily still, but, you know, these are signs that it could be cooking for a reversal soon. Maybe the project fails and it goes to zero, just like many other ones. Cadena, OM, Mantra DAO. You know, this is, you know, there are owners of these cryptos, right? People have created it. They've, you know, a lot of different, we don't know who's holding most of the cryptos, most of the tokens, right? Most of the coins of Avalanche, not tokens. So you just never know what are these people doing in the background, right? Just never know what could happen with these projects. You know, we've seen so many projects fail. But anyway, looking at the charts, it looks like it is cooking for a reversal. But we ain't gonna go into detail on these altcoins. Devil, my man, the legend has been live for over 2 hours. Yeah, man, time flies. A lot of talking, a lot of chit chat. But it's about it. We've been talking about Bitcoin. Devil, my man, that there is a good chance that this structure, there's a good chance that this is corrective. It could extend for a little bit longer, but we did have that 3-wave down, a big pop up. So, you know, we could extend here a little bit longer, but it does look like that we want to push out and claim those highs at 94K again, based on how we are moving down from here. So, looking interesting. What are the plans? What are the levels? Devil, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining the stream. I'll go back and check it out. Thanks, my man. Much love to you. Legends, I'm going to wrap it up. Been live for over 2 hours. Remember, if you are wanting to support the channel, Cadena was crazy. I did have a little bag of Cadena, and it is what it is. Guys, remember that you do have some affiliate links down below in the description. Okay, they do support me. They do support me coming more often and looking at Bitcoin and different opportunities that I'm seeing. You got them down below, okay? Bluffin has great deals right now. Bluffin is absolutely exploding with the deals here. Read this. This is the campaign that's going on at this moment, which is absolutely phenomenal. Bluffin is one of my favorite exchanges. And obviously, you do have some other ones that have some great perks as well, okay? Thank you very much for joining. Check out Velto as well, which is your Go decentralized platform, not yours, mine. And this connects directly to the wallet, guys, and it works phenomenal. This could be the next hyper liquid. It's gaining in attention. Liquidity is pretty awesome, and there's no middleman. Sometimes some people just want no middleman and have full custody of their funds, right? And that's what you get here with Velto, guys. Check out the second link, okay? Thank you very much for joining. Thanks for smashing up the like button. Stay safe, trade safe, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.